Hey everyone, Carrie back here with Family eBiz, where we help families start and scale their online businesses to find freedom in their life, freedom to be with the people you want, freedom to do the things you want, freedom to do the things you're called for. In fact, we're in the middle of a series called From Crickets to Clicks. Not just clicks, but consistent clicks. But as I am recording this, this is the day before I leave for a week off with some freedom. Now, I am actually going to still work. I'm going to help my daughter with her kids because her husband's out of town and their normal help is not available this week. So I do have the freedom. I will not work the hours I normally work. What about you? Wouldn't you like that freedom? Hey, we're talking today about traffic. Today, specifically going from crickets to clicks, SEO for small business, simple tweaks that you can make to drive long-term traffic. Before we dive into the material, would you please take just a second and click the little button that says subscribe? It would mean the world to me. Plus, this would allow us to get this information out to more people so more families can find freedom in their lives as well. And if you have a chance to write a review or leave a comment, that would be bonus material. SEO. We are really, I will be honest, SEO has driven traffic to my site for years and years and years. Back in about 2006 or 7, that was 20 years ago, we knew SEO. We took a course, we paid for a course, we took the course, and we were ranking higher than the publisher on many items. And you could type in the name of this particular book by that publisher, and we were always in the #1 spot above the publisher. Now, things have changed. We still rank high on a lot of that. But if you are like some of my students, some of you have poured your heart and soul into a blog post or into a podcast, only to hear crickets. No traffic, no clicks, no Google love. Let's talk about some very simple tweaks that you can make. It does take time, but I would just say if you spent 30 minutes to an hour a month on this, you could start to see some long-term changes. SEO truly is the long game, but it is worth it. It's not like social media that disappears in 24 hours. It is there, and I am still gaining traffic from things I wrote back in 2013 because we converted my website, whole new website. You have to figure all that. You know, SEO makes me think of the Library of Alexandria in Egypt. This was world's largest collection of knowledge, and people went there over and over. The stored content right there at that library kept people coming back over and over. Sort of like SEO. Great SEO is like creating an online searchable library that gets people coming back over and over. They discover it and they come back over and over year after year. Not like the social media that vanishes in 24 hours. You can find months or even years of content that keeps driving traffic. It makes me think of a few. I think I wrote down four blog posts, not podcasts, that I wrote. In 2013, I wrote the original Lucky Charms graphing. That item now is not a year-long evergreen, but in February and March, it skyrockets my SEO because I have the SEO. I actually have Pinterest. We'll talk about that next week. And it is pushing traffic to that site. And I have a lead magnet there. So I'm capturing people's name and email. Another one, in 2018, I wrote a blog post called Fun Bible Lessons for Kids, Bible Story Snacks. Now, to be perfectly honest, I had been in charge of a mission trip and I was just sharing some of the fun Bible lessons that we were doing with the team there. Now I will say this is evergreen. For a year, I kept going, oh my goodness, in Google Analytics, this thing keeps popping up. Was I doing anything? No. Finally, I was like, maybe I need to monetize this. And I don't really remember what I have on there right now, but I'm sure I have a lead magnet. And I may actually have a paid product as well. Because to this day, that was 2018, this is 7 years later, I am still getting traffic on a regular basis to that site. Heart science activities. Again, this is really big in February with heart and love and all this, but it actually plays out. I wrote that in 2015. And also in 2015, I wrote a blog post about raising homemakers. And it's still I was looking last week at my Google Analytics, and it is one of my top web pages. So SEO does work. I just want to give you some real life stories to say that. Now, I think there are some very simple SEO tweaks, 3 of them, that you can do today. Just think about this. Gutenberg created the printing press. It was so great because all of a sudden information was accessible, but it still needed titles and structures to make reading easier. You couldn't just hand them page 1 of the book. It needed a title, some chapters, some sort of structure so people would know how to move forward in that particular book. Just like that, Google favors your content when it is organized, clear, and consistent and relevant. Clear, organized, relevant, and consistent. So what are 3 tweaks that you can make right now this week to 1 blog post, 10 blog posts, 2 blog posts, whatever? You need better titles with keywords. You need to use a phrase that someone would actually type into Google, like easy homeschool science experiments, instead of how we learned about atoms. How many people aren't doing that, but they're looking for those science experiments. I would recommend highly, and we'll put this in the show notes, Ubersuggest and the Google autocomplete bar. You go in and maybe it's a science experiment and you put science experiment and it'll sort of rattle off some things in Google, other things that people are typing in. Ubersuggest, same thing. Now, I have the paid version, but the free version is limited, but you can type in 3 suggested keywords and it'll give you all the analytics right there for keywords. So make your titles have your keyword in them. Next, you need some strategic internal linking. What do I mean by this? I am going to write a blog post, say in March, about fun learning activities, or in June, or anytime. Lucky Charms graph is one of my top ones. So one of my ideas will be to learn graphing, you can use food. And I'll talk about that. And then I will hyperlink that back to my blog post. That is an internal hyperlink. It has the keyword in that blog post, the new one. You click on it and it'll take you back to the old one. Google wants to see all that internal. I would highly recommend at least 2 or 3 internal links within a page that you are trying to rank for SEO. Another example, in my 19 Easter activities for families, I linked to a variety of old posts that were written in 2013, 14, 15, 16. One of those is resurrection rolls. I get the keyword for that page. I make sure I use that keyword in that blog post and I link it, or my resurrection eggs, or whatever it is. You get the idea. It's sort of like a spider web. But this blog post is going out to 2, 3, or 4 different other internal links. You need an external link too, but that is something I did not realize till several years ago. I needed internal links just as much. Third thing, you need to use headings. These are H1, 2, and 3 headings. My little thing always is telling me I need more H2. H2 are your main sections. H3 might be your bullet style ideas. The way I have my website set up is my H2 headings are always pink. My H3 are always dark green. So it's really easy for me to see which ones they are. Why do you need that? You need it for Google, but your reader too. Your reader is skimming. If they land there and they don't know you or they don't see the importance, they'll like read the first sentence and they'll skim down. If you have the main ideas in those headings, they are more likely to sit and go read more of the details. Also, your search engines, they are looking for headings that have some of your keywords. Now, you don't want to overload it with, like, let's say, what was that one? Easter activities for families. I don't want Easter activities for families on every subheading, but I should have it in 2 or 3 if I have, say, 5 subheadings somehow connected in there. So the first thing is we want to title with the keyword. The second one is your SEO tweaks to give some structure, and Google knows what you're all about. I will tell you that idea is just like a recipe. In a recipe, well, in a blog post, you have the title, and then the information, and then the headings. In a recipe, you have the name of the recipe, you have the ingredients, the keywords, and then you have step-by-step directions, your headings, and your structure. Next, why your blog posts aren't ranking. Let's just talk about this. I've had some students who write weekly, and they're getting crickets. Their titles were vague. They did not use their keywords properly, and every post was just a standalone. It was not connected to anything else. And if every post is standalone, there's no cohesiveness in your website. So you've got to make sure they go together with whatever your niche is looking for. So what could this person do? Clean up their titles and add keywords, add headings, link their top posts together so Google notice. What are some of the things we told this particular person to do? Here's some questions to ask. 4, are your titles clear and searchable? That means they have a keyword. Do you repeat your main keyword a few times naturally, not just stubbed in there somewhere, but it makes sense in the sentence? Do your images have an alt text? So when you put an image up in WordPress, there's a little box, alternative text, alt text. That alt text should have your keyword, the main keyword. You can have something else in it, but it needs to have a main keyword. And are you linking between posts? Those are some fixes. Are your titles clear and searchable? Do you repeat your main keyword naturally? Do your images have alt text? And are you linking between posts? So those are just a few little tweaks. And then finally, are you using free tools to make it easier on you, or just trying to figure it all out yourself because you cannot read your people's mind? Here are 4 tools that you could use. And I mentioned this one before. Google Analytics. You should be in Google Analytics every week at a minimum. This is going to track your traffic that's coming to your website. What is your user behavior? What pages, where are they going? Other metrics to understand how visitors interact with your site. What landing pages, what exit pages. There's a lot of information in there. What type of person? Are they coming on their phone, their laptop, something else? Are they mostly male or female? Are they from one country more than any other country? So Google Analytics, number 1. Google Keyword Planner. Before I paid for a keyword software, this is what I used all the time. It can help you identify relevant keywords and phrases for your business. That can help you optimize your blog post, optimize your podcast, and really target what that blog post or that web page is all about. And again, it's not maybe as great of all the information as some paid, but it is a great place to start. And if you're starting, don't pay for a keyword thing. Just use Google Keyword Planner. And you can go in there and you can see whether it's high, low, or medium competition, how many people have been searching on it each month, that type of thing. Google Search Console. This is sort of the opposite. That is telling you where you want to be. Google Search Console is telling you how people have been finding you. This is going to show you the posts that are already getting clicks and how you could, those will be the ones you want to improve using some of the ideas that we have used. So it's going to give you historical data, just like Google Analytics too, but it's specifically who is searching, what are they searching, what are the keywords that they clicked on that they eventually clicked on you. And then the last one is Uber Suggest. You can find keywords and see where your audience is searching for in Uber Suggest. It's just another keyword tool as well. I would highly recommend spending 30 minutes to 1 hour each month. I did not say each week or each day, each month, updating old content. Maybe pick 1 or 2 blog posts each month that you will update with the keywords, the links, the titles, the interior links, all of that as well. Google loves freshness. Just think about this. Well, let's just review for a second. If you've been multitasking, come back here. Number 1, make sure your title has your keyword. Number 2, there are some simple tweaks. That includes your title, your interior linking, and your headings as well. If you have someone that isn't getting, if you're not getting the traffic, go back and think about why your blog post and what you need to do to fix it. Are they searchable? Are you repeating your keywords? Are you using the alt text? And then be sure to use the free tools, especially if you're just getting started. Now, you don't need to be an expert or spend hours upon hours in SEO. A few intentional tweaks, not just any tweak, intentional tweaks like we've just talked about, can make your content work harder for you, and you don't have to work as hard. SEO is a long-term traffic builder. You're not going to see changes in a week or two, but in 3 to 6 months, you will start seeing changes. Free tools can help you use your keywords, your headings, your internal links, all of that as well. Now, I do have a free resource for you just in traffic in general. This is specifically SEO. Last week we talked about crickets to clicks. Next week we'll be talking about Pinterest and YouTube. But I have 7 Scrappy list building tools, and these are ways you can drive traffic. They are not your norm that we're talking here in the podcast. So if you're looking for some extra ways to drive traffic, I highly recommend getting the Scrappy list building. Look in the show notes where you are familyebiz.com/scrappy, and that will give you 7 different ideas on driving traffic as well. Hey, I'm here for you. Let me know if you have questions. And in the meantime, I am Carrie Beck with Family eBiz. We'll talk to you next time.